My name is Olwyn Kingery. I'm a landscape architect, master gardener, and equine specialist. I have my fingers in lots of things, but one of my favorite things to have my fingers in is soil and plants. I dig dirt, just like all of you. But the landscape architecture part of it gave me a whole nother fascination and dynamic approach to what I do with houseplants and what I do in the gardens. Currently, I'm working on a 3-acre seaside veggie fruit tree garden with a wonderful man who all he wants to do is produce food. And I'm hoping one day I could take you guys out there for a little tour. So Nicole, if there's any kind of tours we can add on, this would be in a wonderful location for everybody to come visit. It's absolutely beautiful, breathtaking, and very unique. And it's a collaboration. I'm not the only one who put it together, his contractor and himself, and just looks amazing. I'd love to invite everybody there. Anyway, going on to the happy house plants. I want to start you off by looking at the next page, if I can figure it out, because now I'm being dumb. Hold on a second. All right. All right. I'm not just a pretty little plant. I have so many benefits to give you. I think a lot of you are privy to this information, but I'm going to go through the whole list because you may not know it all. Your allergies are reduced because they're cleaning the air. They're stripping away some of the toxins in the air. It increases humidity by the evaporation process that goes on in the transpiration process between the plant and the air. And we all know it's been adding oxygen. In fact, if you put a whole bunch of plants in your room, you'll get more oxygen than you can find outside. Believe it or not, it helps with concentration. The ability for someone to concentrate comes from the amount of oxygen in the air, so it helps your brain. Also helps your emotional health to be next to these green beauties. Lightens your mood, purifies the air, has calming effects, as it did 2 weeks ago to me. Way too calm. Faster healing and stress relief. I don't know how each one of these was quantified, but it'd be something for you to look into and to see a little bit more about it. You can see how this would have some value to stressful situations. Maybe you have some sick people in the house. Maybe you have some older people in the house that you could help them a little bit more by adding some plant material in their room. So these are the conditions of plant confinement. So we bring these plants into a non-open shade environment, and we bring them into this stuffy little houses where we put all this heat on them. We have very little light going on. We have very little airflow going on. So I want to talk about all of these little conditions they have to deal with. So we have light. Certain plants handle low light, certain plants like high light. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They bring in plants and they're like, well, why isn't it growing? What's happening? And it's half dead and wilty. And well, most of the time it's due to poor light. Airflow, soil, water, and fertilizer. These are all major factors in the plant's confinement and whether they'll thrive or wither. Low light conditions are extremely common in homes. See this little meter over here? This is my best friend. It really is. Her name is Henrietta. And we talk over coffee every other Saturday. And I bring her out and I tell her, listen, you work for me for just a little while. I'll put you back in the closet where you're happy. Anyway, so this little light sensor and moisture sensor and pH probe and the readout scale is going to help you with your plants. It's not rocket science, but you can get a better indication and idea on how to take care of your plants. The light is extremely important. It is what causes the photosynthesis. It is what allows plants to grow and make those exchanges. Without enough light, it cannot perform it. So therefore, you have to know whether your plant can take low light or high light conditions. I always say to people when they have these conditions of low light, you can add grow bulbs or a daylight LED. The spectrum of daylight will help your plants tremendously, even if you don't change the wattage, but the spectrum of light matters. If you rotate plants near windows and then exchange them with the ones in the hallway and then put them back again, you're going to help them grow and survive kind of part-time, but it'll make them happy, and they'll sit there and they'll smile at you every morning, and then you'll see them stop smiling and you go, oh, would you like to go sit by the window for a little while? And then you pick it up and go put it by the window. Anyway, open the shades and open the doors. So a lot of times we live in kind of a quiet little office room in our houses or bedrooms, and we leave the bedroom, but we don't pull the drapes open during the day. Pull them all the way wide and allow your plants to see some of that light, and they will thrive. So these are the kind of lights that you're going to, or light definitions that you will find a plant will like or not. A lot of times they're labeled. Now I went down to Armstrong. What's really nice in their nursery is that they have grouped the plants into light conditions. So they have low light plants, they have medium light, and they have bright light plants. So you can just go to each bay and you know what to do with them. They've set it up in their structure because the door's on one side and the middle of the structure on the inside, and so their plants follow that fair. So direct light is the very strong beaming light, like what you see on my face. That's direct light right now. So very strong, creates sharp shadows. So streaming light through the windows is really a burning light through the windows. So only certain plants can handle that. Bright light is kind of the light you see surrounding me here, where you've got, a good amount of view. You have brightness, you can see detail and things. And then medium light starts to fall off, over to my shadow side over here, right? So you can use my face and body as kind of a bright, direct, light, medium, and then back to dark here. Low light are areas that are 7 feet or more away from the windows. They have no natural light. Certain plant species are adaptable and can live here, but will grow much slower. If your plant looks sad, consider it moving it to the medium light or in the direct sunlight by the window. Artificial light, full spectrum lights can imitate the sun and work wonders for low light areas. That's the daylight spectrum I was talking about, where you just have to change your bulbs. Direct light plants. I know, it's a tangerine tree. What in the heck? No, really, you can grow tangerine trees in your house as long as they have direct light and you turn the little tree around. So you just, every week or so, you give it a 90-degree turn and you keep spinning it around. You'll have fruit in your house. You know what orangery buckets are, planters? Well, they used to overwinter all of their fruit inside, and they would put them in these little orangery buckets in Europe. It's really a fantastic way to overwinter plants, but you can have enough sun to do this. So the direct light plants, we have cactus, yucca, aloe vera, sago palms, Hawaiian plants, citrus, papyrus plants. There's a lot that can handle direct light. You could maybe even consider certain plants like azaleas. Even though azaleas do better outdoors in the shade zones, they can handle some direct light conditions in the house. And if you guys have any questions, send them through the chat and Nicole will send them over to me and I'll answer them as we go, okay? Please don't be afraid. It makes it a lot more fun. Then you don't have to listen to me streaming along endlessly gabbing. Bright light plants. Fiddle leaf fig, fantastic tall growing tree with big old palm leaves. That one is excellent. Very large, very adaptable. Succulents can handle the bright light, the kalanchoe, the umbrella plant, the schefflera, croton, the bromeliads, ferns and palms, and outdoor shade plants. This is number one down here at the bottom for me. I brought all kinds of outdoor shade plants in my house and they do great in bright light. So if I just feel like I need a little color in there, my azalea's in a pot outside, I just bring the whole thing inside. Or if I find, you know, a couple other things like ferns in my pots that are doing really well and I want to enjoy them some more, I just bring them inside. And I don't do it all year round, but I just do it for a change. And it's great to have that extra oxygen and that extra texture in the house. So a list of medium light plants. You can go through here and maybe you have some of these already and you're thinking, oh, maybe it shouldn't live in the closet. Maybe I should bring it out where it can enjoy some of this sunshine and give me some air instead of smashing it back inside there. Just kidding. Anyway, so you can see a lot of these on here. One that might surprise you is the bird of paradise. Right? I mean, that one's growing outside in full sun, but this can be done inside, medium light in this zone right here, right in the middle of my face zone. Okay, not on the dark side. Kentia palms, also known as parlor palms. These were used in the 40s all the time inside restaurants. If you look at some old photos like Casablanca and some of the old black and whites too, you're going to see a lot of these Kentia palms or parlor palms. They're just gorgeous. They straight up and then they have this big umbrella of palm coming, very fine, absolutely beautiful. But you need tall ceilings for those. Rubber trees and philodendrons do really well in medium light. They're hardy and they're happy. This Dracaena compacta I use a lot. I like it in the house. It does suffer a little bit from too much water. You got to be careful with some of these lower water plants. You can drown them quite quickly. Low light plants. Good old, I love this one, the snake plant. You know what the other name is for this plant? Mother-in-law's tongue. Oh, those girls better watch out. Anyway, corn plant, Dracaena Massagiana is really beautiful. It's striped with white on them. You can find those kind of in tiered sections. And I found a lot of great plant material at Home Depot, I'm sorry to say, but I have always fresh, always new, always really good looking. And I've had great success with their plants. Monstra Delicioso, that's a great plant. It gets quite large. Obviously, you need a lot of room. Pothos, Lucky Bamboo, all those are all great for low light. Will they do okay in medium or bright light? Absolutely, they will. I'm just showing you that these plants can handle the tolerance of low light on the dark side. Okay, moving on to air. So the stale air causes the plant to suffocate. It proliferates disease and fungus because as it doesn't move, these little microbes get to band together and create a little army, and they just start chomping away at your little plant. One of the hardest ones to deal with is mealybugs. And the way to get rid of mealybugs is just bring them outside, hose the crap out of them. Just kidding. I've actually found diatomaceous earth to be the best thing for mealybug. Just a little diatomaceous earth sprinkled all over their cute little fuzzy bodies, all warm and fuzzy like it's raining. And then all of a sudden it just slices and dices them and they're gone. We had mealybug out in our demonstration garden on our alströmerias. I put that diatomaceous down and within a week they were all gone. It's good stuff. So remember that. Drafts are generally good for plants, like drafts under doors, drafts through windows, drafts through, just movement of people, like plants go next to your hallway or next to your bedroom or your door. They don't do well in corners. They don't do well underneath the heating vent, right? So the heat vent just comes down and just burns all the edges. So if you see plants that are failing, put them somewhere where you get drafts, where you get movement of air, and they will do much better. Air conditioning heaters dry them out. That's pretty obvious. And breezes are beneficial. They allow the fresh air in, which brings a little bit better circulation in for the for the little plants. What about the soil? Most of us use tap water for our plants, or outdoor water, but there's a lot of salt and minerals and buildup in that water. So what will happen, because the water has nowhere to drain in a house plant, the salt will build up in it, and you'll see it by seeing little white edges up on the tops of your soil or on your little basket or whatnot. It needs to be flushed, or pull out some of the soil and refresh the soil. You're getting salt buildup. The way around that is to use filtered water. Plants really, really like filtered water because the salt doesn't inhibit their growth. The soil needs to breathe too. So if you waterlog your plants, the soil can't breathe, the roots can't breathe, and they rot. They rot off and they don't replenish. A lot of times you have containers that have no holes at the bottom, and you keep watering it. Oh no, it's dry. I swear it's dry. And then you pick up your plant and it's like a big old rainforest going on in there. So you really got to lift them up a little bit. Make sure that you don't have a puddle of water at the bottom. A lot of times that's the case. They need to breathe. The soil has airspace with all the pumice that's in there and the vermiculite and all the nice soil that they use. But if you drowned it, it's not going to come back. You might as well toss it out and get a new plant. There are different soil types for different plants. There's acidic soils, there's succulent type stuff, there's palm soils. Use what they recommend. I could tell you that palm soils are tough because they're just straight pumice. So you can't really hold water in that. You have to water it frequently, but then you can't let them drown in it either. So you got to pay attention. Okay. Pay attention to your plants. They deserve the attention. They're nice little things. They do good things for you. We put moss and bark and pebbles on top. It's nice because it holds water and it looks a little prettier and cleaner, but you really can't see what's going on underneath there. That's where our little handy dandy probe comes in. You like that little disappearing act she does? Isn't that cute? Doop, doop. Anyway, so this little probe, this is your best friend. This is where you're going to know what's going on with your water and your soil. All right. And what about cats? Nicole was just talking to me about her cats. Nicole, can you hold up that plant your cat loves real quick?
Yes.
Oh, get out of here. I don't need you right now. Go away. Don't you love me? I know you love me. All right, look at this. Hold it up just a little closer. You can't quite see. There you go. And up a little. There. See that? That little kitty cat loves that plant. Nicole had to go figure out which plants were non-toxic to cats just so she could keep feeding her cat. It's really cute. I love your cat plant. Anyway, and cats like to dig. They like to dig into plant soil too. They like to go potty in it, fertilize it for you. They're just the sweetest little kitties. But you can get them to stop doing that, but maybe putting some big pebbles in there so they can't get in and dig around in there. Anyway, cats are a very important part of the family, but not important for plants. Water. Every plant has a certain tolerance for water. Some are low, some are high. Some don't mind water bogging, for a little bit, but there's all kinds of sources you can use. You can use the faucet, you can use ice, bottled water, or rain. Just take all your plants and put them out in the rain in the shade somewhere. They will be so happy if they got some rainwater because it has all kinds of good stuff in it for them, not this salt stuff. It's like drinking Perrier as opposed to river water or, slumpy, yucky. sludgy water. Makes a big difference to those plants in the rain. You'll notice even in outside when the springtime comes, how the plants flourish in the rain. Wait, I forgot. We don't get any rain. How do you know? You can't see that here. All these poor plants are just dying of thirst. Anyway, so with the moisture thing at the bottom, you can put a little bit of gravel at the bottom just to ensure that you're not drowning your plants underneath there. And that will also increase the humidity for the plants. If there's little gravel with water underneath there, you'll increase the humidity for the plant material. Big question, should the tray be inside or on the outside? Either or, doesn't matter, as long as you're paying attention to the pool that you're making underneath there, all right? Don't want them drowning. Very important part of the water. Okay, so these are all great fertilizers for your plants. I personally like the Job sticks because I don't have to think about it. I just put them in there, and every few months I put in some new ones, and my plants thrive. They love these little Job sticks, but you have to water them for them to work. So if you're not watering your plants, then can't feed them. So then you might want to move on to water soluble stuff. Just feed and water them once every 2 months or so. How often should you water and feed your plants? That's a good question. I fertilize my plants year round with the Job sticks. If they go a couple months or, they run out and I don't notice, no big deal. But that way I don't have to think about it all the time. You know that when you buy plants from the stores, from no matter where you get them from, a good growing grounds nursery or a Home Depot or whatnot, they're fertilizing those things every week. And so when you take them home and you're like, well, it's not flowering anymore, it was beautiful in the store, well, they're fertilizing the crap out of them. So that's what you have to do if you want them to look that way. Fertilize the crap out of them, give them more crap, right? But you don't have to go crazy, and you don't want to burn them out. So you got to make sure you follow, the ideas of how they want each one of these to be used. If you can't double the amount of fertilizer in the water, and the plant will be happier. I think the stuff in the middle is great too, but it might be kind of expensive because look at these tiny little spray bottles. It all depends on how many plants you have. They need fertilizing often, especially because of the salts, and the soil that they're in doesn't necessarily have the nutrients it needs, right? It's just a medium. It's a lightweight medium. Doesn't have a lot of organics, doesn't have a lot of microbes from the outdoor soils. So feeding them is super important. And I'll bet you, if you fed your plants for the next 2 weeks and watered them and got yourself this little cutie pie, you will be very successful with your plants. Don't you just love her? Isn't she cute? Should I put like a little smiley face on her? So this is where I come in mostly, is in the design and layout of plant material. So this is my little scene over here. I like to have this in my kitchen. I love to see this like filtered light coming through and, jumping back off of here and down onto my little love plant. This is called a love plant. Isn't she lovely? And the Dieffenbachia down below. I like to create those little scenes with plants. I don't have to have just a single. It's kind of nice to have a little trailing next to a fluffy one. And I rotate that Dieffenbachia underneath here towards the sun. But you can use various objects and pots, right, to make it interesting. It doesn't just have to sit there in a little basket or a mundane little ceramic something. You can do some layering, some groupings, use outdoor plants, use cuttings. Or just use plain objects in your house. Pretend like the outside is the inside, right? And you can pull your garden inside and really create some great plantscapes with your plants. I want to show you my really favorite plant. She's so generous. She stands super tall. She always looks well dressed. I wish I were more like her, but I'm not. But this is one of my favorite plants. Oh, can you see her? Hold on, I'm trying. Oh, it doesn't recognize her as a face. Oh, here we go. Anybody know what this is?
Z plant.
The Z plant. Yes.
Or a ZZ.
ZZ. The Zibidika plant. Okay, why do I like this plant? Well, I have placed this plant in multiple places. I put her in super dark spots. I put her in nice light spots. Um, I've parched her completely for months, and I've waterlogged her and drowned her for weeks. And guess what? She's still this amazing. Now, if I drowned her for any longer, maybe not so much, but the ZZ plant is wonderful and it grows and grows and grows. They are expensive when you buy them. They're probably one of the more expensive ones because they're slow growing, but it's a succulent type plant. So it holds a lot of water in its leaves and its stem. It's a very sustainable, low water, ever loving plant. She's my best friend. I look up to her. She is my mentor. That's it. All done.